Who exactly is now leading the CJP protest? Is it Sonam Wangchuk? Is it Abhijit Deepke in the shape of the Cockroach Janta Party? Or is it the Gen Z? We are going to try and decode the shifting power centers behind the movement even as the parliament remains in a deadlock. Plus, the shocking Madhya Pradesh data on missing girls. Then we've got an AI story that sounds just like a science fiction, but it is in fact real. And decoding India's deadly highway black corridors. More than 37,000 deaths in a span of just 6,000 kilometers between 2023 and 2025. Our health segment is where we're going to try and understand what this latest Lancet study means for you and our prescribing challenges when it comes to antibiotics. And how can we forget? Is this Thalapathy Vijay's emotional farewell with Jananayagan delayed but much awaited release? Big stories, sharp questions, a little segment on what the government's stand on ethanol is now. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi. First, the top headlines on your screen. Opposition MPs protest led by Rahul Gandhi. The entire bus stopped from leading vigil to Gandhi Smriti as tribute to the students who died by suicide after the NEET paper leak. Rahul Gandhi, the leader of opposition, says that the entire opposition stands with the nation's students. Union Minister of State for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Suresh Gopi, says the E20 petrol is a safe and technologically advanced fuel. He's also added that there is no proposal to return to ethanol-free petrol. Is there going to be a choice at the petrol pumps? Well, no answer on that. Centre says E20 is clean, no plan to return to pure petrol. After what we saw on the 20th of this month with the Sansad Chalo March, the Cockroach Janta Party has called for a nationwide protest on the 24th of July, despite Centre's assurance on the paper leak and the fast-track courts. The protest call comes despite government's assurances and the invitation for discussions over the NEET paper leaks and the demands of the Cockroach Janta Party. On the global diplomacy front, United States signs landmark nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia. US President Donald Trump says the deal pertains to non-military use and subject to Saudi joining the Abraham Accords. Well, first up, we're asking a question that goes beyond the protest that we've been seeing in central Delhi, more specifically Jantar Mantar. Has the movement, the students' protest itself, gone through a little bit of a change? Because if you look closely, what began as a unified student uprising over the alleged NEET paper leak now appears to have multiple centers of gravity, different priorities and perhaps different end games as well. Only time will tell. But for weeks, Sonam Wangchuk, the Cockroach Janta Party, led by Abhijit Deepke, and thousands of young students appeared to be speaking in one voice. But are they still? And that's the big question. Let's first establish the facts. The government today escalated its response. And even as we say that, the opposition MP's bus, led by Rahul Gandhi, it was stopped from reaching Gandhi Smriti, where they were going to pay homage to all those students that died by suicide, that lost their lives. The MP's bus, it was stopped by the security officials and the authorities over there. Then you've got Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who today announced that fast-track courts will be set up to ensure quicker punishment for those involved in the examination paper leaks, calling the future of the India's youth a national priority. Union Home Minister Amit Shah endorsed that move. And at the same time, Union Ministers JP Nadda, Dr. Jitendra Singh, once again inviting Cockroach Janta Party and their representatives for talks, saying the government was ready to discuss, it still is ready to discuss, it's ready to discuss every issue at any time and at any venue. The same has been uttered by Kiran Rijiju, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, inside the Parliament, saying the opposition does not want to talk. We dare you to come and have a conversation with us. The opposition says, no, nothing doing until Dharmendra Pradhan resigns. And the invitation by the CJP representatives, it seems like, has also been rejected because, hey, no talks have happened. The CJP says that nothing has changed. But those are the three prime faces of this protest. Now, you've got Sonam Wangchuk, you've got Abhijit Deepke, and then you've got the multitude of the Gen Z, the actual power of this storm. Its principal demand, talking about the CJP, remains the resignation of Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. The party also insists that the protests will continue until its demands are accepted. But is this where the story begins to get a little bit more interesting? Hear me out. Because Sonam Wangchuk's position, at least in tone and tenor of that letter that was given to the union government yesterday, appears to have evolved. From the hospital, Wangchuk released a letter saying he wants to end his fast and return back to his students. His primary condition is now an assurance that there will be no retaliatory action against peaceful student protesters. His language on some of the movement's earlier demands also appears a little bit softer. Where the protest had earlier insisted on Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, Wangchuk referred to Parliament discussing accountability, including consideration of resignation. Where compensation had earlier been framed in fixed monetary terms by sections of the movement, Wangchuk spoke instead of adequate compensation. Importantly, he focused on protecting students rather than demanding action against the police. And that is a noticeable difference in emphasis between what the Cockroach Janta Party from Jantar Mantar is saying and what Wangchuk said from his hospital bed in Medanta. Now, compare that with the CJP. The party has hardened its rhetoric. It continues to insist resignation is non-negotiable. It has accused the government of trying to dilute the movement through procedural announcements. It has alleged outsiders are attempting to infiltrate the protests and discredit students through violence. It has also rejected repeated invitations for talks without concrete commitments. So, you have three parallel structures here. And this is the third force. The one perhaps least organized, but certainly the largest. The Gen Z, the youth, the students out there. Millions of students whose frustrations extend far beyond one examination. From repeated paper leak allegations to digital evaluation controversies to rising education costs to growing unemployment education and specifically unemployment amongst graduates, the anger is clearly broader than just one NEET leak examination, which raises the central question. Is this still one collective movement that has one collective momentum? Or are we now looking at three parallel tracks, not very different from each other, but on three different gauges? A moral movement represented by Sonam Wangchuk, a political mobilization driven by the CJP, and a much larger youth sentiment that may eventually move on its own direction. Meanwhile, Parliament remains deadlocked. The opposition continues to insist there can be no discussion without Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation. The government says it is ready for a debate, and the protests on the streets continue. The streets remain charged. So, who holds the mandate? Before I bring in our guests, take a look at some of the big questions that we're trying to understand. Where does this movement go from here? Who now defines its demands? Who speaks for India's students? And perhaps the biggest question of them all, when a movement changes, who gets to decide where it finally ends? Let's put those questions tonight before our panel. Senior journalist, a political analyst with us on the broadcast, Mr. K.V. Prasad, senior journalist, man needs no introduction. Many thanks, Mr. Prasad. And Dr. Mahendra Singh, senior journalist with us on the broadcast as well. Mr. Prasad, what's your assessment and reading here? To all those big questions that I pointed out, do you think we're trying to read too much into the fine print, trying to unpack the layers unnecessarily? Or is this actually a question 3-4 days after what we saw on the 20th of July?
Well, Kavit, to my understanding is there is a very clear demand that I've been hearing from the voices that have come out from all the students and it is now not just Gen Z. Remember, very many parents have reached there expressing solidarity. Elder citizens, senior citizens have gone there for expressing solidarity. It has moved beyond Gen Z. The Gen Z provides the spirit and the solidarity and the solidity to the entire issue, number one. Number two, as of now, what we see, what is evident is Abhijit Deepke and his core team of CJP are the ones who has become the voice And I have not heard, maybe there may be stray voices of anybody questioning. In fact, if you remember, these very students or children or youth had questioned why did the two representatives go and meet the minister in the residence.
Yeah, yeah.
And now they have now said we'll either meet at a neutral venue or a venue. They should come to the Janta Darbar, even yesterday. So that means they are listening to the voices that are coming from the ground, because that is where the energy comes from. So I don't see anything other than that.
And maybe they want to stay close to that. They want to make sure that they, at least optics-wise, look like they're in unison with that. Because the first round of discussion at JP Nadda's residence, you had two spokespersons that went there. But on the other hand, now the situation is in an entire deadlock. And why I'm asking you this, Mr. Prasad, is because it's still a very nascent stage. On the 20th of July, we're still sitting on the 23rd, 24th, a nationwide protest call that's been announced. Do you think that this is a new phase where multiple power centers may be emerging now?
No, I see. The point is there may be voices which may be not exactly 100% with what is being said. But then this is where the consensus effort is. Like I said, if the CJP people who are on the stage had not heard the voice from the ground, who had objected to why did you go and meet the minister? They should have come to us. So, now that has solidified, number one. Number two, you look at it, nobody said, oh, he's not our leader. That's not, that's the point is now it has gone beyond NEET. Let us get that clear.
Mr. Prasad, again, my apologies for interjecting. I'm just thinking maybe that's perhaps because the Gen Z, the largest force, the actual strength behind this movement is also the least organized, which is why you need CJP to take this forward, which is why nobody is, questioning all of that's happening.
Well, for those who have been there at the venue have told me, because I don't travel to be very honest, but I have many people who have been there.
I visited that place myself, and I'll tell you what, Mr. Prasad, just like a quick anecdote, I visited, I think, on the 18th of July, and then later on, just a day before the 20th of July protest, 2 days back to back. And what I understood was that once the crowd swelled up, you had the spokespersons that took to the stage, and this is when Sonam Wangchuk was still on the pedestal there, before the cops forcefully removed him from the Jantar Mantar pedestal, getting to the mic, arousing the emotions, invoking the sentiments of Bhagat Singh and B.R. Ambedkar Sahab, and then telling them, sort of creating this credibility that, hey, look, we're there for you and you're there for us. But why I'm questioning this now is because we're seeing a different set of demands coming from Cockroach Janta Party and a completely different set of demands coming from Sonam Wangchuk, who is actually the moral strong point and the moral center of this movement.
Agreed. He is there, but everybody has noticed that what he has sent the letter is probably after the two ministers visited him as per news reports, right? Now, what negotiated between them and the minister is not in the public realm. One only presumes that what has been written in the letter. Now, that is separate. Sonam Wangchuk remains the moral fiber or the moral compass around which these people are come. But I think today, it is July 20th, which is the new lodestar. That has changed the entire direction. And last night, I was speaking to some people who were at the venue. They said, it is amazing the way volunteers are organizing themselves and they are not allowing any violent. In a huge crowd, it's very difficult. It's like in a classroom of 40, you always have a mischievous student, right?
Right. But then you're absolutely right, sir. And that's a great example.
It's a big crowd.
Look at what happened last night.
It's a big crowd.
How can we discount the fact as to what happened last night in National Capital?
That's exactly. After that, I spoke to some people. They said it was very quickly sorted out, police and all that has happened. And the volunteers took charge and ensured that nothing else moved forward. So we must also appreciate that. Since I was not personally present at the venue, I'm only depending on people who were there and who told me this. Okay, so I'm going by eyewitnesses, fellow journalists who were there. So this is where I appeal. So I'm not saying it's too early. There are several moving parts, and it is an evolving situation.
I understand. See, another analogy here is, and Dr. Mahendra Singh, please come in on this. It seems like it's a big piece of machinery. It has different gears. But every now and then, one gear sort of takes over the other gear, and then the third gear takes over the other gear. From what you have observed on the ground, who currently has the greatest influence here, sir? Do you think it's Sonam Wangchuk, the moral figure? it's Abhijit Deepke and the Cockroach Janta Party, the organization behind the demonstrations, or is it the students themselves? Because they're not worried about just the NEET. They're worried about the falling rupee. They're worried about ethanol. You can see posters about ethanol over there. You can see posters about the CBSE fiasco that we all came, the unemployment, especially in the unorganized sector. All of that is coming together. So who really has the greatest influence? Is pure momentum ka main head figure kaun hai? That's something that we have to figure out.
The students, the youth is the real momentum. Even Cockroach Janta Party would not have imagined that such number of students will, and from different corners of the country will come to Jantar Mantar and protest. Leave apart the traditional political system, the ecosystem, the political parties. They were completely unaware of the anger which is real, which is on the ground, which is among the youth, and not only youth, among the families of the youth, the parents. So, I think to your specific question, it is the youth which is driving this movement. It is not backed by any broad ideology, not backed by any, you can say, dedicated followers or cadres. They don't have clear objective or goal to achieve from this movement. But now this movement, which started from a NEET leak paper examination, it has got a broader momentum, and now the students, they want transparency.
To be honest, Dr. Singh, I think this movement started from that satirical online political campaign and an obiter dicta that took place because of the CGI's cockroach remark, quote unquote. But my question, and let me rephrase this, and then I'm coming to you, Mr. Prasad, as well. I need your insights on this as well. But Dr. Singh, the CJP and this entire students movement that you're saying is the actual muscle behind this movement, do you think it's gone beyond the control of the Cockroach Janta Party? It did start like that, but now do you think it's gone beyond the ambit of Cockroach Janta Party even imagining that it can wield this particular power?
I can't say that it has gone beyond the control of Cockroach Janta Party, but definitely if Cockroach Janta Party want to negotiate, want to stop this movement, I think they will be in trouble. Because now the youth demand, they want institutional
That's a good
reform.
point. That's a good point that you've raised over here about ending. And I think that was part of my intro as well, Mr. Prasad.
And they have realized it. They have realized it because nobody would have imagined that they are again going to sit on dharna at Jantar Mantar on 21st. After everybody thought across the India, across the country, that now it is over. But
sir, it's far from over. Well, at least that's what the last 48 hours or so have told us. Mr. Prasad, when the leadership sort of changes, or when you can see that, the center is not holding, I mean, I can use various analogies or adjectives. Don't know whether we're hitting the nail on the head over here. But can the Cockroach Janta Party end this now? Can they even stop this? If tomorrow Dharmendra Pradhan resigns, is this going to come to an end? Can Cockroach Janta Party really give it in writing that they're going to be able to do something like that?
See, the point is CJP will not be in a position to do anything on their own. And that I gave you the example precisely because when they went and met the minister at his house, there were protests from the students. They heard the voice from the ground and now they have conceded to it. So in a crowd of such people, you have to work through consensus. And that is the most difficult part, let me tell you. It's not easy. But if you are in a position where, and I'll give you another analogy, just remember two very clear, distinct streams. The CJP protest starts on, say, July 7th, right? Or June, whatever, right?
Yeah.
June 7th, he had it first, then 21 days later, he comes and sets up the protest.
35 days all in all today.
Yeah, okay. So now, compare the crowds before Mr. Wangchuk was lifted from there. Number one, they were thinner. The crowd swelled because they felt this was not proper to take a peaceful protest out from that venue. And it was July 20th, the brutality that one witnessed and the kind of everybody's talking about, that is what has caused anguish among not just the youth, the parents, a larger section of community who are far away. This is what is tugging the hearts of people of this country, that how can unarmed people, youth, be attacked so physically by the police, while the police have a duty to do. I mean, the way it was. So I think all these are worked out, and I still feel there are still some parts moving. There could be discordant voices that will be heard as we go along, but it will be for the leadership, whatever his leadership is there, whether it is DK and his team, to build the consensus. And they've been hearing these voices for the last 35 days, more so after 20th. And the kind of energy these young people are putting, they do. I sitting here, I cannot even find out what exactly except hearing to stray voices. So getting their collective voices to agree on a few points will become important. And if you listen to the voices that have been again coming, now they've escalated the demand. They're saying it is no longer Dharmendra Pradhan. They're talking of the whole government now. While that may be not the... So you see, that is because sentiments, emotions...
Yes, exactly. I mean, we thought we had reached a crescendo on the 20th of July, but we're nowhere even near that. It's still simmering. We don't even know where this is exactly going.
That's why this is an evolving situation. It will take time to filter out and distill out. And this is where the every movement faces a challenge.
All right.
This is
a little bit of both of your opinions on the kind of politics that we're seeing over here as well, because let's throw some of those live footages as well. Some of those shots from that bus full of opposition MPs. All they're all walking right now. We're learning these are shots on your screens. You've got Rahul Gandhi. You can see several opposition MPs, if I'm not wrong. Maybe Abhijit Deepke over there as well. I don't know. I can't make out at this point in time. But Dr. Singh, what do you make of that? What do you make of that? The politics that is now colliding with how charged the streets are, with the parliament in deadlock. And it seems like the iron is hot, it's on the anvil, and the opposition is trying to make the most of it.
Definitely. Most of the, if you talk about Congress or Samajwadi Party or major political parties, they came into picture after July 20th. And they realized that this is not a newbie, Cockroach Janta Party. They treated Cockroach Janta Party as a newbie, and they tried to ignore it, that this protest is not going to be such a huge and which has resonance across the country. But soon after, Congress led by Rahul Gandhi, they tried to project themselves as they are with the student and they have solidarity with the cause, and this is fallout of that. Now, and that's why the protest, which was limited to resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan or to ensure accountability in the system, now they want a bigger say and bigger picture, bigger reforms, that they want institutional.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Singh. Let me ask you this. This entire movement that we've been seeing, 35 days of protest, 25 days of hunger strike for Sonam Wangchuk. Then he is removed on a particular weekend in the morning with the entire, fiasco that we saw on the pedestal at Jantar Mantar. After which, 20th of July, we saw the police brutality, the excesses, the Parliament Chalo March, the tear gas shells. I mean, it paints a different, violent and a grim picture. This entire movement, do you think it can sustain its momentum if there is no single spearheading or a figurehead of this? Right now you have the CJP. Then the opposition also wants a piece of this. The parliament and the government is trying to do all it can to make sure that they can push the protesters away. And then you've got the Gen Z, the most unorganized and the large, raw force behind this entire movement, which doesn't really have a figurehead. So how do you control that? Do you have Deepke? Does Sonam Wangchuk have to come here, do a little bit more? After that meeting, like Mr. Prasad was telling us, the stands have changed. It's a little softer stand. There is no immediate demand, resignation demand. It's about consideration. The lines have changed. The statements have changed. It's gone a little bit softer now. And do you think the movement, coming back to the question, can sustain itself if there is no single face that is leading it? I mean, I'm just talking out loud here.
No, definitely. It is a bigger question because no political movement can be sustained over a period of time without a leadership, without a clear identified objectives. So it is a challenge.
Yeah.
But it depends upon how, be it Sonam Wangchuk or Abhijit Dipke, how they are going to drive it. And also the government's ability to deliver a visible and timely action. That will be crucial. If government will be able to do that and will manage to restore the confidence of the younger generation in its public institution related to education, examinations, and recruitment, then definitely the movement will die down. But it is an evolving situation. It is testing time for the government. It is not something because CJP doesn't have any stake, or they are not going to lose anything. They have given a voice to the youth, which
massive credibility is on the line, I think, Dr. Singh. And I mean, who's to say? I mean, it's too early to say whether they're going to be a full-fledged political party or not, whether they're going to, register as a political party or not. But we are all talking about CJP. We talk about BJP. We talk about Congress. We talk about Samajwadi Party. We talk about all these parties. I mean, TVK was nothing 2 years back. It's now, ruling the state of Tamil Nadu. So you really can't say whether this is where this is essentially headed. But one thing is for sure, that you see, when a movement develops multiple voices, who speaks for it and who decides where it goes next is a big question. Because in the end, Gen Z isn't just watching politics anymore. It is out there on the streets. It is shaping it. And whether this becomes a defining youth movement or just another political flashpoint will depend on what happens from here. Watch on News9. We're going to keep tracking every turn. Stay with us through every one of those turns as well. Mind you, some really splendid ground reports coming from there as well. Our boots were deployed there on the ground. Many thanks, Mr. Prasad. Many thanks, Dr. Singh, for taking out the time and helping us with your insights into this particular story. All right, then, without slipping into a commercial breather, let's quickly take you through this next segment, because we're next trying to draw your focus to a set of numbers that deserve far more attention than they have received so far. Let's put these numbers into perspective for all our viewers. Not because they belong to one political party or another, but because they concern the safety of thousands of children. In a written reply tabled in the Madhya Pradesh Assembly, the state government has revealed that 61,112 minor girls have been reported missing between 2021 and 2026. That's right. And the good news, there is a silver lining, a massive one, is that 57,871 girls have been traced and fortunately and luckily reunited with their families. But the worrying part is still big enough for us to talk about. 3,241 girls remain untraced. Even today, there is no confirmed information on where they are. The numbers also point to an alarming trend. In 2021, over 9,400 girls were reported missing. In 2022, the figure remained above 9,000. It crossed 11,000 in both 2023 and 2024, and in 2025, the number reached a whopping 13,146, the highest annual figure in the last 5 years. Even more striking is that 6,300 plus girls have already been reported missing in just the first 5 months of 2026, and the data is still May. The number could have been more than that. On average, that means more than 33 minor girls have been reported missing every single day over this period. Now, one important clarification. The government says that in line with the Supreme Court directions, every case involving a missing minor girl is automatically registered as a kidnapping case. The idea is to ensure immediate police investigation without delay, rather than waiting to determine whether the child has run away, been trafficked, or disappeared under other circumstances. But this is what the government has done. The state says that it is running Operation Muskan to trace the missing children. It is running Operation Srijan for the girls, dedicated anti-human trafficking units across all women's police stations, and regular review meetings to monitor investigations. But are we still doing enough? That's the big question that one has to ask. Officials are also pointing out that thousands of girls have been successfully traced over the years, including many from older pending cases, yet the data also raises some important questions. Why are the annual numbers continuing to rise if we're doing all of these operations, if we're doing enough? How many of these disappearances involve trafficking? How many involve children leaving home? And how many end up linked to other crimes? And despite multiple recovery drives, why do more than 3,200 families still not know where their daughters are? Statistics can feel impersonal, but every one of these numbers represents a child. It represents a family that's waiting in a search that for thousands is still not over. These figures are not just about crime statistics, they're a reminder of the continuing challenge of child safety, trafficking prevention, and ensuring that every missing child is found and brought home safely. Some reactions on your way as well.
मुझे लगता है कि बहुत बड़ी संख्या इसमें ऐसी भी है जो लव जिहाद के कारण गायब हुई, और अब चूंकि समान नागरिक संहिता आ गई है और समान नागरिक संहिता के कारण इस प्रकार के मामलों में सख्ती आएगी, तो कई बार वो गायब हो जाती है, फिर मिलती ही नहीं है, फिर कहीं और बेच देते हैं। बहुत सारे इस तरह के चलता महिलाओं के साथ अत्याचार और अनाचार वो होता रहा है, और अब इसमें कमी आएगी। और निश्चित रूप से महिलाओं का विषय संवेदनशील है, बच्चियों का विषय बहुत संवेदनशील है। उसमें अगर आवश्यकता लगे तो एक कमीशन बना करके, एक अभियान चला करके उसको रिजल्ट तक लाना चाहिए, खोज करनी चाहिए, और जो भी 13,000 बच्चियां नहीं मिली है उनकी भी एक खोज के लिए कोई प्रयास होना चाहिए।
निश्चित रूप से मध्य प्रदेश की कानून व्यवस्था चरमरा करेगी, खासकर माता बहनों के सम्मान में या बेटियों की रक्षा के मामले में पूरी तरह सरकार हाशिए पे है। कानून व्यवस्था उज्जैन में देख लो आप, खुलेआम मुख्यमंत्री जी खुद गृह मंत्री है, खुलेआम गुंडे चल रही है, हत्या हो रही है। तो बेटियों के मामले में तो आप खासकर अनुसूचित जाति, जनजाति, किशोर बच्ची, उनका अपहरण हो रहा है, बड़े बेटियों के ऊपर बड़े दुष्कर्म हो रहे हैं। तो सरकार को कड़े कानून बनाना चाहिए, कानून बनाकर इनको कड़ी सजा मिलना चाहिए और बेटी की रक्षा करे। हमारी मांग है, इसमें हम कोई राजनीति नहीं करना चाहते, लेकिन कम से कम ये बेटी, ये लाडली बहनों की बात करने वाली सरकार, बेटी पढ़ाओ बेटी बचाओ की बात करने वाली सरकार, आपने देखा जंतर मंतर में किस तरह बेटियों को भाजपा के गुंडों को पुलिस के बेस में इनने भेजा। तो कम से कम इनकी कथनी और करने में अंतर ही समाप्त हो और ये बेटी को बचाए।
Artificial intelligence has just delivered a warning that sounds like the plot of a Hollywood thriller, except this one is absolutely real. Imagine asking an AI system to solve a hacking challenge inside a secure sandbox, a secure test environment. No internet, no outside access, strict internet guardrails, a controlled experiment as well. But instead of solving the challenge, the AI allegedly decided to cheat. According to OpenAI, 2 of its most advanced AI models broke out of their secure sandbox, gained internet access, and launched a cyber attack on Hugging Face, one of the world's largest AI model repositories, to steal the answers